Alright guys, so I'm doing a tutorial on AMD Ryzen Master. I'm currently using the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X 8-core processor. So this is the basic view. You got temperature, CPU clock speed, and voltage. Um, these are basically what you can use if you just want to do something basic. You can go to control mode, auto overclock, and you can go to control mode default, auto overclock, and manual. What manual allows you to do is it allows you to adjust the voltage. Be very careful with the voltage. Never, under any circumstances, set your CPU to more than 1.4 volts. Preferably keep it at 1.375 volts. Because if you overvoltage your CPU, you can easily damage it and you can fry your entire system. If you want to start off with something safe, I would recommend doing the boost clock speed of the CPU and setting your voltage to 1.375 volts. I'm going to set mine to 1.2 right now. Yeah, so my current CPU is running, as you can see right here, 1000 megahertz. It says maximum 4800 megahertz. That might be a little bit above the boost clock speed, but I technically could set it that high if I really wanted to. So I'm going to show you the advanced view. We got a bunch of stuff right here. There's all these graphs over here. I'll quickly go through them. You got your temperature right here. Peak speed, this is the current speed on all active cores. PPT, this is the total socket power. CPU power, this is the total amount of watts that your CPU is using. Sock power, I don't know what, I think that's the socket's power that it's currently providing, which I don't know how that's different from the CPU power, but this is the TDC is the sustained current limit of the CPU, which this is what percentage of utilization your CPU is using. And the EDC is the current peak limit of what the CPU is operating at. So I think it's between 8 and 14%. There's a few different modes you can go on here. You go to creator mode. So creator mode allows you to set it to one of 4 modes right here. You can set it to eco mode right here, which sets the processor to operate at a lower power consumption. It's automatically set to default, which lets it just auto regulate. There's precision boost overdrive, which is a form of auto overclocking, and it just finds the best. It tries to find the best CPU frequency for you. There's auto overclocking, which also tries to find the best frequency for you. It works okay. And then there's manual, which allows you to set the cores individually on advanced mode. Here's the thing about AMD CPUs. They like to have all the cores running at the same frequency, which you can set them all to the same frequency by clicking this button right here. Mirror the speed of one core to all the other cores. And if you drag them up, it'll change all of the cores to the same frequency right here. Or you can unlock that to allow you to adjust the frequency manually for each core, but I would just leave it selected. Let's put that back at default. There's the memory control right here. If you push enabled, it allows you to set your memory clock and fabric clock speed. Mine is at 1800 because it's half of what the megahertz of your memory is. My memory runs at 3600 megahertz. Be very careful with the slider, because if you mess with the slider, you can screw up the boot on your computer, and you'll have to take out the CMOS battery and reset the BIOS on your motherboard. It happened to me once, so be very careful with this. I would just leave this at default, and if you want to mess with overclocking your RAM, I would just do it through the BIOS. So just leave that off. Simultaneous multithreading. Leave that on. It allows your CPU to do multi-threading, which allows each core to act as 2 cores. So I have 8 cores in my CPU. My CPU is hyper-threaded, which allows it to act as 16 logical processors instead of 8 cores. So that's pretty cool. You can save your own. You can save your own profiles up here by going down to the Save Profile tab. There's a few buttons down here. There's a Reset Profile. There's Copy Current Profile, Save Profile, Discard, Apply and Test, and Apply. If you go on Creator Mode and you go to Manual, and then you go to CCD0, once you set the CPU at the desired frequency, I would start with the boost clock. You click Apply and Test, and it'll put your temperature limit and TDC at it'll put your TDC at 100%, and it'll put your temperature limit at about 80 degrees Celsius, which is high, but it's just testing the stability of the CPU. So either one of two things are going to happen if you try to do that. Either one, if you're doing it under the default core clock speed, under the boost clock, it's going to work. Or if your CPU overclock is unstable, you're either going to get a blue screen of death, or you're going to get the test to fail, or it's going to be successful. That's if you do it wrong. If you do it right, there's a way that you do it. So start out, if you want to do it right, go to Manual, set the CPU to its boost clock speed, then apply and test it, and set the voltage to 1.375 volts, then increase the frequency of the CPU by 25 megahertz, just 25. Just 25. That's all. Overclocking your CPU is a very slow process. Run the test, and if it works, then you can bump it up another 25 megahertz. Most CPUs without using liquid nitrogen are only gonna overclock anywhere between about 100 to 200 megahertz past their base clock speed. Some CPUs will give an overclock past a couple hundred megahertz past their stock clock speed. Some of them won't give, like my CPU, because I got a dud. It just depends on how the silicon in the CPU is made. So you're really rolling the dice here. But yeah. So that's about it. And after you get your CPU test stable, anywhere from 100 to 200 megahertz more, you're gonna go back to basic view over here, and then you're gonna open up 3D Mark. I'm going to stop the video here until 3D Mark loads up, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, and we are back in 3D Mark. So what you're going to want to do to test your CPU, you're going to want to go to Time Spy. You're going to want to go to Custom Run, turn off Graphics Test 1, turn off Graphics Test 2. All we want here is the CPU test. So you're going to run a custom. And let me stop the video right now to show you guys what my score is, because my audio and video recording software are going to change my score because it's putting more stress on my CPU. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so just ran the 3D Mark test for my CPU. This is what we got. CPU score of 11,319. You see the CPU clock frequency. The great thing about 3D Mark is it's going to always run your CPU clock frequency if it's on stock at its maximum boost clock, since it's using 100% of your CPU's utilization. as you can see right here. And yeah, so I hope that you guys have gotten a handle, or at least a little bit, on how to use AMD Ryzen Master, and you guys should be good to go with overclocking your computer with your CPU. And if you haven't seen my tutorial about overclocking your GPU, go ahead and check that out. Links will be in the description for that video. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Thor Hansen's computer tutorials. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think of the video, and I will see you next time. Peace.